Alright, we're looking at event we had 2012 Roanoke Rampage. Nate Davis from Star City Fight Club. He's going to be taking on Suga Shane from round 30. Both of them are from Roanoke, Virginia. When you think about these two guys and you see them here, they're getting ready to start. Mike Troxel starts the show. And nice left hand by Nate right there. And they start mixing it up real well. Nate gets a takedown. You see Suga Shane on his back working to try to get back up. This is an interesting part of the fight right here. You see Nate has got his hand trapped, his left hand trapped underneath. He goes for the mount, but then Suga Shane's able to use that arm that he trapped to reverse that position. Right now they're a little bit out of camera range. We're going to move that camera right back in. And Suga Shane's on top here. A little bit about these two guys, I always think about them. This was definitely both of their best performances in my show anyway. I think about these guys and they have just such a ton of potential. Both of them have losing records, but you see in this fight they both trained real hard and they came out to fight, and it really shows you the potential of both of these fighters here. They're both very tough, and with the right training, they both perform very well. But here you see them, they're both standing in the clinch. You got a little bit of camera issue here because of where they were located. Much different cage than what I have now. But Suga Shane winds up in the top position here. There you see Frank Mullis over there, one of the judges here. And Suga Shane gets the takedown. He's, right here, really not trying to pass the guard. See, Nate is actually moving that arm with wrist control, looking for a triangle here. And I tell you, that's one thing that I try to teach my guys all the time, is how to use that wrist control and put yourself, especially if you're on your back, into a good position for submission. And Nate does have that triangle locked in pretty well here. So, Shane looks like he's thrown a couple right hands to the body. And you really can't see the position there. Cameraman zooms in a little bit. So it's hard to see why he doesn't have the triangle. He's pretty much in it right there. And you see he's actually almost took him down to his side, but he keeps him right there. He needs to pull his arm across and try to pull down on the head, but he's pulling down on the head. It looks like that his foot, not his shin, is stuck underneath, the back of his knee there, which makes it much more difficult to pull this off. Shane actually gets out of that position and winds up in the side mount. Nate turns into it and looking for a single leg or a double leg takedown. Shane's in really good position here. He's going to go around to the back, and then a couple of right hands there. And you see the end of the round for round one. Both of these guys from Roanoke, Virginia. This show was at the Roanoke Civic Center. One of the best shows I ever had. Renzo Gracie was a special guest. We've got the Cage girls that were from Hooters. Hooters always did a great job with providing Cage girls and stuff like that. This was one of the good shows that we had. Roanoke. Haven't been to Roanoke in a while. I'm looking probably to do that possibly in June or of 2017. But Roanoke always been a good place for the VCC to have a show. So there you see referee Mike Troxel. He's getting ready to signal for all the fighters to leave and the corners to leave the cage. Not the fighters, but the corners to leave the cage. And we will commence with round two. Very close first round. I mean, it just depends on how you score that triangle. And, it looked like Suga Shane was on top for the majority of the fight. Kind of hard to play into the, who won that round. It was really, really close, but I'd have to say the judges probably went with Suga Shane. Here they are mixing it up again, and Shane goes for the takedown and winds up on top once again. Um, you see Nate here is got an overhook on, his right arm is kind of over his head and under his armpit with his hand. So here you have Shane just kind of burying his head down, sort of doing the right thing in a way. Really needs to posture up now, and try to rain some blows down. Nate is grapevining the legs, which is making it difficult for him there, but he winds up here. He should be posturing up like he's doing and start to throw blows. Nate is looking again, he's looking again for an armbar triangle. Shane is in a lot of trouble here. Nate has got that pretty deep in, but it doesn't look like he's crunching the head down. The most important thing here is the head needs to come down, and then Shane is able to throw some left hands and get him to move it out of that. You'll notice that Shane isn't really trying to pass the guard, a traditional way. He's just trying to move his legs through. That's not really working out too well for him. Sort of laying in what you would consider a wrestler's position here, where he should be posturing up, maybe looking to pass the guard. He goes for it that time, gets swept. That's one of the mistakes you make when you don't get a good posture trying to get through the guard. You stay in too tight to them, and they can get a good sweep day. Nate goes for an elbow, winds up on his back, but then Sugar Shane reverses it and winds back on top. Once again, a very, very good round for Shane. He's been on top the majority of the fight. Nate's kind of looking over at his corner, I guess looking for some type of instruction here. But, once again, not posturing up, just kind of staying down, controlling the fight, not really looking to posture up and throw down a whole lot of blows. To give you an idea of what this fight was like, too, a lot of people in the crowd were going nuts during this fight. It was very, I guess what you would say, emotional with the fans there. And, the funny thing is these guys both get along with each other real well and shook hands after the fight. And here you see Nate going for this, Kimura, and he actually winds up getting the sweep for it. That's a good sweep. He threatened that move, and eventually, Sugar Shane had to roll over to relieve the pressure, which puts Nate on top here, raining elbows, throwing some punches. Man, another very, very close round. However you wanted to score it, it was, did seem like Shane was on top. Not that, when you're in top and you're in the dominant position, you should be looking for submissions and to pass a guard and move into the mount. Nate mounted there at the end, a great round, great way to end the round for him. Very tough to, that's why no one wants to be a judge. That was a tough one to judge. So, going into the third and final round, you could have it 2-1. You could possibly have it, 2-0 for Shane, or you could probably have it 1-1. Very close. Hard to say who is, winning the fight at this moment. So we're getting ready to restart the action here. That's Enrique. He is the coach at round 30, trying to get Shane, give him some last-minute instructions, get him ready for this round. Final round of a very tough, grueling fight. Sugar Shane getting ready to come out. They touch gloves. Good show of sportsmanship. And it's on for round 3. So round 3, nice kick there from Nate. Here you have another nice kick from Nate. Another one right there. Now, mixing it up a little bit, Shane gets a couple good shots, and then Nate winds up going for a takedown, missing it a little bit. Shane, is looking for this submission here, this guillotine. I'll tell you, Nate is one hard guy to submit. He doesn't give up easily. You see here, as soon as Shane got that mount position, what he should have done was base out, let go of that choke. He didn't really have it, and would have prevented him from getting taken over. But he does wind up, reversing his fortunes, only to be caught here in the triangle again. You know, this is one of the toughest things. Now, you see the foot is not all the way into the crux of the knee. Okay, so you see it's kind of a difficult position, you know, to actually finish this submission. Now he adjusts it. It looks like it's a little bit tighter there. And it's just tough. Nate is pulling down on the head, trying to get that submission. And I tell you, you know, give it up for Sugar Shane too. He's not giving up without a fight. I mean, he's not just going to tap out to that. And he eventually works himself out. Here's where you would think, hey, great opportunity to transition over for an armbar. You know, throw that right leg over his head and then move into armbar position. But it doesn't really work out. You know, Shane is throwing punches, so probably not the easiest thing to do. And Shane is definitely throwing some nice shots, ground and pound here on, you know, Nate. Nate is sort of still in the guard. He was looking for a submission, but right now it's all Sugar Shane in the third round. You have to wonder, you know, you have to say possibly this is a round that both of these guys needed to win the fight, and Sugar Shane is definitely doing a good job of controlling the fight in this round. Here you have, you know, Nate is being threatened again with a choke. Sugar Shane doesn't really have his hook in, and that's what makes it difficult. Shane takes the back, throws some ground and pound, and you know, right here, it kind of makes you wonder, you know, what can Nate do to get out of this position, get it back standing, and maybe go for the knockout? You know, good side mount here. Shane is just moving around, trying to get some shots in before the end of the bell. And there you have the end of the fight. A great fight. You see people standing, everyone giving them an ovation. As exciting show that this was, people really enjoyed this fight. And, you know, a lot of emotion for this. You know, I know Nate's father was there. Sugar Shane had a lot of his friends were there, and family members. So, yeah, it gets emotional. Roanoke Civic Center sells alcohol too, so that also gets people worked up. You know, but it was a great fight, and telling them to give it up for them both again. Before we go to the judges' scorecard, now, you know, running by and getting all the scores and tallying them up, you have to think, you know, very close first round. Could have went either way. I think Sugar Shane really got that second round. That was a good round for him. I think definitely the third round was 10-9 for Sugar Shane. So if I was scoring it, I would say, you know, Shane won 2 out of the 3 rounds, possibly 3 out of 3. I mean, it's hard to say how the judges look at that. But, you know, we're going to the scorecards. Sugar Shane thinks he's won very easily. But, you know, you just never know when it goes to the judges. I can tell you how I feel about it just watching it. You know, eventually, you know, we get the decision and, you know, we have a winner. It's taken a while to get the decision out, by the way. And the winner is Sugar Shane by split decision. And I'll tell you what I think happens is, you know, you got some judges there that are striking guys or whatever, but there was a jiu-jitsu, if there's a jiu-jitsu guy that values submission attempts heavily, I could see where he could really give Nate the rounds instead of Shane. So, you know, it's all real subjective. People complain about the judging. I tell you, 10-point must system is a boxing judging system, so it's just one of those things where, I mean, what can you do? But Sugar Shane wins. You know, hasn't been in a cage in a while. Would love to see him come back. Definitely would love to have him back. But one of the best fights of the VCC.